Okay, 7th graders, y'all are going to cover 2 lessons today. The first one is lesson 1-7 on inductive reasoning, it's called, inductive reasoning, okay? Remember, math is a lot like learning a new language. And so, inductive reasoning is really, overall, what you're learning in this class. Okay, it's making conclusions or finding an answer based on a pattern. And we're going to learn a lot of patterns this year. You're going to recognize patterns when you're looking at equations and expressions. And hopefully you'll get good at recognizing the kind of equation or expression that it is, and then using a pattern procedure for solving it. Okay? Sometimes you have to use or make a conjecture, which is a conclusion that you reach by using a pattern. Okay? So, open your books to lesson 1-7. Page 35. You probably have these notes written already since you've been up here a while. So let's look at the first example. So what if you have a series of numbers like this? Oops, I'm sorry. Oops. All right. So, using inductive reasoning, or just looking at the pattern, or looking at the numbers, you can hopefully see a pattern. What is the pattern that you see? Caleb?
Subtract 5.
Yeah, it's going down by 5, right? How do you find a pattern? Most of the time, you're going to need to find the difference in the numbers. Start by finding the difference in the numbers, if it's a number pattern. So this is negative -5, this is -5, this is -5. And so you have to describe this pattern in 2 ways. First of all, what are you starting with? Class? 30. So you write start with 30 and then subtract 5. Okay? That's how you can answer that question. What is the pattern? Start with 30, then subtract 5. Then I might ask you, what are the next 3 numbers in the pattern? 10, 5, and 0, right? So, that's what inductive reasoning is about. It's looking at this logically and figuring out a pattern. Okay? What about this one? 2, negative 2. 2, negative 2. Don't overthink this one. Sometimes you can just recognize it that it's gray.
-4 plus 4.
-4 plus 4. Yep. Or start with 2 and then -4 plus 4. Or you could say that it's just 2 and negative 2, alternating. Or start with 2 and then add 4 and subtract 4, right? Max?
It's supposed to be subtract 4, then add 4. But if you
Oh,
start with
you're
2,
right.
then it would be 6, and then it would be 2. 6, 2.
Yep. So add -4 and then add 4. So sometimes the patterns are that simple. Okay? Look at page look at page 37. Sometimes there'll be a geometric pattern. Like this. This is example 5. What do you see? Asa?
They're all dots.
They're all dots, starting with
1,
and then
4, 9,
1, 4, 9.
You add 5.
Hear it?
Like, this might not be it as in like the numbers, but like if you're looking at the picture, the dot in the corner, and then you add like one around it, since it's that like 1, and then you add 3 around it, and then if there's 4, then you add
So what would the next one be? Yeah. And then what squares are these? Oh, whoops, sorry. What shape is this forming? Yeah. And so this has a specific name. Okay. These are all perfect squares. What does that mean? What are perfect squares? Right? Okay. Now do you see it? Oh, the next one. Three squared. 4 squared. Then 5 squared, then 6 squared. So it's 1 and then 2 by 2, 3 by 3, 4 by 4, 5 by 5. So there's some different ways of describing the patterns, okay? My point is that sometimes there'll be geometric patterns or dot patterns in sequence. Let's go then to lesson 8 in looking for a pattern. That's what lesson 8 is about. Finding patterns. Like I said before, to find a pattern, especially in a number sequence, you should find the difference between the numbers that are next to each other in the sequence. And then use this question, how are the numbers related, or how do you get from one to the next? So in this pattern, -2, 1, -8, 1. If you go backwards, if you go forwards, it's times 3 plus 1 times 3 plus 1. Okay? So the pattern is here. How do you get from one to the other? Sometimes it'll be a combination of multiplication and addition. Let's look at number 1 on page 42, once you have this written. Number 1 says, Caroline is training for a swim meet. Then there's a graph. It shows the number of laps per day she swims each week. If she stays with this training pattern, how many laps per day will Caroline swim at week 8? Then it's listing the numbers. So they're not these numbers. They're 1, 3, 6, 10. So write down those numbers for number 1. 1, 3, 6, 10. In your assignment book, yep. For number 1, page 42, write down that number sequence for number 1. 1, 3, 6, 10. Then, find the difference between the numbers that are next to each other. So subtract them. Amelia. Okay, so number 1, page 42. 1, 3, 6, and 10 are the numbers in this pattern. And then add them going up the other way. What would you add? To get from 1 to 3, and then 3 to 6, and then 6 to 10. So what can you show on this pattern? If you subtract them, you get what?
1.
The difference is minus 4, minus 3, minus 2. Okay. Or if you add them, it's plus 2, plus 3, plus 4. Yes? Hear it. So what would it be at week 8? And how do you know? Hear it.
36.
36? Why?
Because when after 10 it goes to 15 because it goes up by 5, and then the next week it goes to 21 because it goes to 6, and then up by 7 is 28, and then up by 8 is 36.
Okay. So it keeps adding 1 each week. Yep. So then on a chart, you could say it this way for weeks and for laps. 1, 3, 2, 6, 3. Oh, I'm sorry. 1, 1, and this is the first one. There we go. So in week 1, 1, week 2, 3, 3, 6, 4, 10, 5, 15, and that way you would list the weeks that you're on and show the pattern, okay? Yes. Yep, put it in a chart. Okay? Weeks and laps. Weeks and laps. Okay? How about number 2? Let's do number 2 together. Page 42. Students are to march in a parade there will be 1 first grader, 2 second graders, 3 third graders, and so on through 12th grade. How many students will march in the parade? So, grade, they give us information about the grade and the total number of students, right? So there'll be 1, 2, 3, 3. What do you need to do to find the total? Reese? How would we find the total? Add them up. Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. Add them up. Good. So, just by recognizing the pattern, you can figure out what to do. Okay? Any questions on inductive reasoning or finding patterns?